for me, writing lyrics is just torture, man. It's the worst part of the whole business. I can write melodies all day, but when it comes time to write lyrics, just like, man, I pace a hole in the ground. I probably go through 2 packs of cigarettes a day, like just struggling with myself, trying to figure out, like, does this make sense to anybody? Does this make sense to me? Is it too vague?
What's up, everybody? It's Keefy at GhostCultMag.com. Thrilled to welcome back in Ray Alder, progressive metal legend. How are you doing, sir?
I'm very well. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, so great to see you. It's so great to chat about this new project and this new album, North Sea Echoes, with Jim, your longtime collaborator. It's so exciting. I know, you have so many musical outlets. What do you get from this outlet? It's such a completely different flavor of music for both of you. It's not like it's completely unheard of, but like, I love the style, I love the sentiment of the album, I love a lot of the just how unique it is compared to everything else you've done. So where does this sit for you in your body of work?
Sits right at the top. It's like, I've always liked to do quieter kind of songs. I like being able to sing. I mean, I sing obviously with the heavier stuff too, but the quieter things for me is always just having to scream or have a voice tonight. But I actually thought a long time ago I wanted to do a solo thing and sort of quieter music. I honestly didn't think anyone. So I was really happy and excited when Jim contacted us. I don't know what the hell to call it. Project, group, collaboration. I don't know. When Jim called me and asked if I would be interested in singing on his music. Once he sent me the tracks, yeah, I was really excited. It was right up my alley, exactly what I wanted to do. And I've always appreciated, like, doing the quieter fates warning songs, especially live. It's just cool for me as a singer.
Yeah,
So
of course,
yeah,
of
I
course.
was very happy.
Nice. Naturally, you get a chance to spread out, and really good terrible things. By the way, is the album coming out on Metal Blade Records, which everybody is well acquainted with, and you have a long history with. Yeah, I really love this. It's. I don't want to swear it's a concept record, and maybe you can illuminate that for us, or a concept project, but it does seem, there's like a recurring theme that seems, at least, emotionally through the whole record. It's great to see another side to both of you, and this, I found this music like very gently healing on top of, enjoyable.
That's cool. Yeah, there's really no concept other than the lyrics are pretty deep, I guess, dealing with different subjects. I mean, I never, set out to change the world or make a statement or try to improve someone's lives or anything. It's just more of, when I hear the music, lyrics, I tend to think in my mind like what I think I would like to hear if I heard that, and that's where the lyrics come from. So I'm dealing with different depression. One song deals with cherophobia, which I find just fascinating in a morbid way. It's an actual, it was a disease, but it's a disability that some people have, the fear of happiness. They fear that if they're happy, something bad is going to happen. So they basically go through their lives trying not to be happy. I just find it fascinating and extremely sad. But it was just something I read up about one day, and I just thought I would write a song about it. And I don't really know why I did that, but it was an interesting subject for me, and I wrote about it, and it's one of the songs. So all the songs just deal with different things. There was a book I read when I was a kid called Mazes and Monsters, and it was about a guy that just had an episode that sort of started believing and hearing voices, and there's a bunch of movies about things like this as well. So the Mission song, I just kind of found it interesting to write about something like that. So they're all just different stories, I guess, different things.
Right on. I really appreciate talking about mental health and mental health struggles. I think a lot, it's, we spent years ignoring it, especially men of a certain age. We're not allowed to be sensitive and talk about our problems or feelings.
Exactly.
I definitely came from the generation before me where my dad was like, no crying, deal with internalize your problems and don't talk about them ever. And then I did the complete opposite anyway, but like, still a lot to process. This is an interview with Ray, not a therapy session for me, but just saying, I really, having had a lot of mental health struggles, I appreciate the outlet to listen to. Like I said,
Sure.
I know it's, it's, we're all going
I'm
through
glad
it.
you're doing great though. Yeah,
I'm
I'm
doing
glad.
better. I'm doing a lot better, and I'm glad that this music is an outlet to kind of share some of those stories, or put them out there so people can relate. It's you've always been a very I want to say a thoughtful lyricist, and I listen. Like I always say, it's like, listen, man, I love Dio to no end. I'm sure you do too. Knowing
Yeah,
what I know about your career,
exactly.
I know you love Dio, and I love fantasy and swords and dragons and stuff. But the real monsters are all
Yeah, yeah,
in here and in here. So I really, this is where I live, kind of topically. So I'm glad
yeah,
somebody's
yeah.
talking about it.
I mean, it's funny for me. Like lyrics, I was saying this before. For me, writing lyrics is just torture, man. It's the worst part of the whole business for me. I can write melodies all day, but when comes time to write lyrics, just like, man, I pace a hole in the ground. I probably go through 2 packs of cigarettes a day, like just struggling with myself, trying to figure out, like, does this make sense to anybody? Does this make sense to me? Is it too vague? Is it too obvious? That whole kind of thing. And it's once I fall upon a subject that I want to write about, then the real battle. So I don't know. Maybe for some other people, it's really easy to write lyrics, but me, it's the hard part. I mean, I will go for 2 weeks writing a song that's 3 minutes long. So yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah, I get that. I totally get
yeah,
that.
and it's funny. I love Dio too. I love everything, Holy Diver, everything he's done. But I was joking around with my wife the other day, like in the song where he says, what does he say? Something, the tiger. If you see his stripes, then you know he's clean, or something like that. I was like, why can't I write brilliant shit
It
like that?
it's yeah, it's just obtuse enough to make you pull you in. I don't know. So Dio is incredible. He had a great imagination and a wonderful lyricist. And I think you're a wonderful lyricist. And like I said, we can't all be Dio, and not every song can be about
Yeah,
tigers and swords and
yeah, yeah.
holier than thou people. But
I
yeah,
wish I could write shit like that. I really do.
maybe another project. You have some,
Mhm.
well, all you need is time. You can do all these
Yeah,
things. I love that. Just to throw some flowers at Jim for a second, right? Jim, like his body of work against like yours speaks for itself. But I love like I would say there's some really cool compositional choices he took here that are just like, hey, not only dynamically is this a little different than you're used to from this pair of guys, but all these shades of emotion, all these different layers. I think we really, when a song is not going at you 1,000 miles an hour, it's really cool to just kind of listen on this on repeat and like absorb it in, and how multi level it is on a on the
yeah, yeah,
composing
yeah.
level.
I agree. When he sent me the music, I loved it from the minute I heard the first uh, track. I was just in love with the music, and I had a problem because there's no way I'm gonna be able to sing over this. The music's just, it could stand on its own, I thought, but in the end, I guess it worked out. I figured it out.
Definitely. And again, I think, I imagine, I don't know, in terms of your craft, let's say you don't have a show coming up and you're not preparing for a tour. Do you sing every day? Are you working on new music all the time, or you just kind of let it come to you when the spirit strikes?
Yeah, usually working on music all the time. I usually jump from one project to another. Sometimes they overlap, and that's a problem. But yeah, I'm always busy. I have a home studio, which is great. I mean, years and years ago, when I lived in Los Angeles, I had a place to record, to write, and then I would have to go to a real studio and sing there. But now I have a home studio, and I've done, I don't know, 4 albums at home right now, and it's great. I really really love it. I think one of the best parts of it is I'm reading the Getty Lee book right now, the My Effing Life, which is great. And there's so many coincidences, or I don't know, just so many things that he says. Absolutely right. And one of them, when you do the demo, you have certain little things that happen here and there that are great. And then you go into the studio and you try to recreate that, and you do that 100 times, and you sort of lose that original feel, that magic that was there. And that's how it was with me going into the studio, working with an engineer, working with a producer. And now at home, I mean, what you hear on the North Sea Echoes is everything I did here at my house. And it's pretty much all the first take. Not the first take, of course, I fuck up constantly, but I record myself. But the thing is, I don't have to deal with something because we've had it on Fate's Warning album where I do something on the demo that we try to recreate in the studio and it just won't happen. It's just no way. And it was actually parts on the last Long Day Good Night that we were trying to recreate in the studio. And it got to the point where maybe we can pull it off the demo, but the quality just wasn't good enough. And it wasn't pitch or it wasn't anything. It was just an attitude thing. But yeah, the quality just wasn't good enough. So at least, here, first run of the song, whatever we did on the album is what I would send to Jew here is what I finished here. And I would send to Jim and say, okay, this is cool. Let's mix it. Okay. And that's how it was. So as far as craft, yeah, I'm always working and I'm always trying to figure out new things and new techniques, but I'm still stuck. I'm an old guy,
I mean, there's
new
something
tricks kind of thing.
we all are, and there's something to be said for that. I will also say it's kind of wild from where you started out. You and both you and Jim 35, 40 years ago getting into music. The studio was such a thing to save up for, and like we better go in ready to go. You don't want to waste labels money or your own money. And now with the all these advancements in technology that you can basically have a professional studio in your home and have it be record quality is wild. Like it's really, it's empowering.
It really is wild. I mean, that was the Inside Out album. Can't how many albums I've done. No Exit, Perfect Symmetry, all those I did on a 4-track recorder, 4-track cassette recorder. All the demos I did by myself on a 4-track cassette recorder, and that's just how it was back then. Then you go into the studio and you spend $2,000 a day on 2-inch tape. And then get yelled at by the producer because I couldn't get one note right 30 times, and you're gonna wear out the tape. So yeah, it's much easier working. I'll say that.
Yeah, definitely allows you to be prolific if that's your spirit, and or not. The ability to have balance work, life, family, whatever, and then go and go back. Oh, I didn't get it today. I can get it tomorrow because the studio is unlimited now.
Exactly.
The access.
Yeah. I mean, funny story. When we did Parallels, though, ran out of time, which is why James LaBrie sings on one of the songs. I ran out of time, but I was there that night. I was the last one in the studio. Everyone had flown home, and I sang for I think 16 hours. I sang all night long, all day, all night, trying to get everything that I could done, and I got everything done except I forget which song it was that James LaBrie sings on. But the 11th hour, I don't know if you know Fate's Warning very well, but the 11th hour song, that part was written there on the fly that night. Jim just said, just do some O's. Okay, so I did that after singing for 12 hours. But that whole entire night, I remember I had to leave. I was flying back home to LA. And yeah, I went from the studio to the airport back home. But anyway, that was those days are gone now. Now it's well, turn it off. I'll come back tomorrow. And not have to worry about anything. Fresh.
Right on. I don't know what the rest of this year is going to bring. I'm hopeful. I'm hopefully optimistic. But I know it's a good thing that Dream Theater's in the studio with Portnoy.
Yeah, man, that's good. The best news I've heard in a long time.
It's good for
you
humanity.
See the pictures of his kit?
Yeah, it's nuts. Of course, he's gonna go bananas. He's gonna go so hard. And look, we love Mangini, guys. Wonderful. And
sure.
10 years in a band. You're well aware the volatile nature of the music industry at different projects, and it is how it is. But he was a soldier and incredible, by the way, and they're buddies. So hopefully not too awkward among with a friendship. I'm fond of saying it's the music business, not the music friendship. But it's nice to it's good for all music that those guys could come back. If those guys could come back, and anybody could come back. It's not quite the Eagles, but it's not great. But I'm glad. I'm really happy for them. They all look real stoked and they all sound real stoked. So it's good for music. When you're not making music, what music do you listen to for comfort and enjoyment?
It's funny. I don't really listen to music that much, man. I used to, not like I used to. Even when I live in Spain now. I'm an expatriate, I guess you can say. But I when I lived in LA, I would listen to my car. I would hardly ever listen to music. But now it's sad because I have these beautiful Mirage bipolar speakers and a great amp, turntable, and hundreds of albums and CDs, and I just never put them on. I just don't. What do? Tell Alexa to put on Alice in Chains, and the little fucking ball speaker that I could barely hear. It just doesn't make sense. There are some rare nights that the wife and I will sit and have some wine and actually listen to music, and those nights are great, but they're pretty few and far between. But I don't know. It's funny to answer your question. I guess now I'm older, and one of my favorite bands is Alice in Chains. I don't know. I liked them when I lived in America, when I lived in Arizona, when I'm much younger. Loved Alice in Chains, but never to the point that I do now. Like, I really appreciate what they did, and I'm so sad that Lane is gone. And his voice was amazing, and their harmonies are unmatched, man, by any band. And their vibe and their mood and their lyrics. If you've ever seen their lyrics or read their lyrics, man, they're really not very uplifting. So if someone says my lyrics are pretty bad, go read an Alice in Chains song and compare. But yeah, I think probably one of my favorite bands now is actually Alice in Chains.
Amazing. Always one of my favorite bands. I saw them in October. William is an incredible singer also and has done a lovely job.
Yeah, I saw him in LA.
It's really hard to step into a band with an iconic singer and make it. And we came from an era where, unfortunately, we're losing a lot of guys. Cornell, Lane Staley, Chester from Linkin Park. We just lost a lot of guys. And sometimes they can't come back. And sometimes they can't. Wyland, sometimes they can. Alice in Chains and STP being two bands. And I would say, strangely enough, Dirt is a very good, companion to North Sea Echoes in a way, because similar topics, and and Jerry writes some of the lyrics and obviously co-lead sings. I think it would be fun to pair you with another major vocalist and do kind of a duets thing. I don't know. I think it'd be cool.
Maybe could be cool. Yeah, I'm open.
And I saw not the hugest fan, but I saw a video clip of Disturbed in their big arena tour doing their Sound of Silence cover, and Miles Kennedy came on and they did a cappella like the whole song. Him and Miles and David Draymond. And it was wonderful. Like one high, one low, and Miles has that like Robert Plant range, the Halford range a little, and good stuff, man. I imagine maybe on one hand, if you're not consuming as much music and not any new music, it kind of keeps a purity to your own influences in your in your own inner ear, because I know a lot of people that constantly consume music, and I imagine if they're also making music, it can seep in a good or a bad way.
I've heard from other musicians, other singers rather, that when they are working on new music, that they avoid listening to anything. No, I mean, there's no way you're not going to be influenced. Maybe it's subconscious. It doesn't matter. We all come from somewhere. We're fans of everything. I grew up listening to Journey and Boston and Judas Priest, Scorpions, Iron Maiden, Crocus. I used to love Crocus when I was young, but I can't sing that way. Back in Black is one of my favorite albums of all time. There's no way I could sing that way. But getting back, it's just, I think I work so much that I don't know, maybe it's subconsciously I say I don't want to listen to something just to not be influenced by it. It's funny. But there are times, like when I was working on the AZ album, there was a certain line that I kept singing that it was stuck in my head. And I'm like, what the hell is this? I know I've heard this melody somewhere. And I searched and I searched and I searched. And you know what it was? It was a Peaches and Herb song. It was like 3 notes from a Peaches and Herb song from the 70s, a disco song. That was the line. And I knew I had heard it somewhere. And so there you go. I left it. I didn't take it out, just so you know.
All right, good to know. Some Peaches and Herb. We'll give Peaches and Herb their flowers. I love. There's a story about Paul McCartney, who apparently dreamed up the song. Literally, it came to him in a dream yesterday. Right, one of the most iconic songs ever made, the most covered song ever, besides like Happy Birthday and national anthems. And he dreamed it. And he ran around for weeks asking people, "Have you ever heard this song?" And he would sing that line to them, and they were like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about." He's like, "I must have wrote it because he woke up thinking about it. Like, where have I heard this before? I can't get it out of my mind." Hilarious. Like, it invaded him until he made the song, and now it's like, of course, incredible. So sometimes maybe you've made so much music, it's like of course it's imprinted on your psyche and imprinted in your soul.
Sure.
And it just maybe stuff just comes out. All the stuff you have taken in over time will come out in other ways.
Yeah.
Good times. What's on tap? Like I said, you live in Spain. Is it possible that this is going to be a live project at all, or just studio?
We never really discussed it. Jim and I never really talked about it. I mean, it all moved really quickly. He asked if I wanted to sing on it. I said yes. We started working on it, and then in the middle of it, we said, "What the hell are we gonna do with this? We're gonna release it ourselves? Are we gonna put it on a label?" And we were both in shock at the fact that we didn't even think about anything. We were just so happy writing the music that in the end, we thought about putting it out ourselves, and it just, we're older gentlemen. We don't know how the hell it works. No idea how to promote your own music. So in the end, we just said, let's get a label. But as far as touring, playing live, it just never really came up. I mean, maybe we'll see how well the album or how well it doesn't do, and we'll take it from there. Yeah.
Oh, well, I hope it does. I mean, like, I love this record. I think a lot of people are going to dig it. It's a different side of both of you. And I'm hopeful for it. But I know it's also probably hard when people want what they want from you, which is, stuff you're better known for. But, it's nice to, I like to see you guys stretch out. This is a really great project, great album.
Thank you.
Do you have anything else? I'm sure this is coming out in a few weeks as we're recording this. Yeah. Is there anything else on tap you're working on you can talk about, or some hush-hush secret mission stuff?
I'm working on the new AZ album right now. We're almost finished with it. The music's done. I have 3 more songs to finish up, and then that's it. I don't know when it's going to be out. Maybe the way record companies are now, probably a year, maybe 2025. So we'll see. And other than that, like I said, I'm always working. So as soon as I'm done with that, I'm going to jump on another. I'll actually, in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to see maybe I'll do another solo album. I was talking to some other friends that they're interested in doing a sort of a prog album. So and we'll see. I'll jump on to the next. I'll probably talk to you then.
I hope so, man. This is the second time we've chatted. We talked once years ago, and always a fan. Seen you live many times. A whole different animal. But this is a really great project. I really hope people check this out. We're gonna link everything in the description. And thanks again for your time today, man. I really appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Thank you very much, man. Have a good day. Good night. I don't know where you are. Yeah. Where are you?
I'm in San Francisco.
Oh shit!
So I'm on the West Coast. So pretty good.
Are you guys getting the storms too, or is that just?
We were getting the storms, us too, but not as bad. We actually had a sunshiny day yesterday for here. This is technically our winter, and it's usually like 55 and rainy, but it's okay. We're not bad. It's not bad.
What was that saying? The coldest winter I've ever felt was a day in San Francisco, or what was it? There was a poem or something a long time ago. I don't remember.
I'm not surprised.
I remember in San Francisco, I'm freezing. Every time I'm there, I'm cold as hell.
It's windy.
I lived in LA for 21 years.
That's fair.
I know.
That's fair. All right, man. Thanks so much for everything. Have a great day or night.
You too, man. Take care. Bye.